Someone make it make sense.
Probably a couple.
Hello, everybody. I love to see James making good use of our command for hi. We had hi Santa, hi Spider-Man. Love it. That is amazing and awesome. Welcome on in, guys. Help yourself to a cough drop. Okay, so we did part one, what was it, yesterday of this? And I had a lot of thoughts. Actually, I think I'm almost done with timestamps on that. But anywho, we are picking up where we left off. Actually, I backed up just a smidge so we have a little bit of context of this. So, you know, for anyone who wasn't there, basically, I don't ever watch this stuff, but like I thought it would be funny / fun / interesting / whatever, fascinating. Long Crime had the video. It's like the title literally says, like, if I move this, right? Like shocking new details is what it's called, right? And oh my God,
putting some finality.
Sick. Always does that. The shocking new details, like what are the shocking new details? Like I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea that she was going to be interviewing Steve, but she is. I have literally had not heard him speak since like when the murders first happened. So anyway, it's very interesting. And so here we are.
In the last, moments, it's not fair for parents to have to wait 2 to 3 years to understand what happened to their kids. Talk about cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, Nothing's crueler than to be told that you don't get to know what happened to your child. And
make sure you're live, Andrea.
All these other people in this courtroom get to know, and they're complete strangers. They don't even know your kid, and they get to know all about this. I'm not a fan of that, but
I'm always hoping that when I learn things, I'm learning it second after you, obviously. I've always felt that it's just so unfair if family members hear from the press details that no one had shared with them prior. And it does happen. I mean, it does. It's not a perfect system. But this was a call you had with the coroner, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, multiple calls. We had more than one.
Yeah, it's funny that we're getting many reports about this, even on the previous live stream, about the sound skipping. That must be a YouTube thing. That's very interesting. This is a new issue, apparently, as of, I think, today, that I have not, and it seems to be happening to quite a number of you, which is interesting. I mean, YouTube's been having some glitches with the audio, so hopefully they'll fix it. So, anywho, it is being crazy. It's being crazy.
Share any other details?
Yeah, she did share some details, but those are, they have to come out to me and we have to talk about it. And then, so I don't want to say something that was just words on a phone, I'd have to know more details before I could share all the stuff. But, I guess the best I could do at the time was say that Kaylee's and Maddie's didn't match their damage. I wasn't trying to say one had more or one was other. I just was trying to say that they don't match, and I could share that information, but I still wanted to respect the courtroom and respect the process of this. But I'm not going to reward 2.5 years of dragging this on. Eventually you got to just let the truth come out, and that's part of the reason why I start letting some things come out that I can, because Hippler's definitely opened up the sealed docs at a much better pace that makes you feel like that we'll at least get to this courtroom and have some idea what's going on. We don't have to sit there and get hit with unknowns over and over until you can't even process it anymore. I mean, the whole court process has nothing to do with the parents, has nothing to do with the victims. It's all about the person who did this. And
I mean, facts. Now he seems to not understand this. Okay, let me back up. I understand how being the family member of a victim, that would feel shitty. Obviously, I get that. But the thing is that in a criminal trial, it's the defendant's rights that come first. And the victims, while they are hugely important and deeply affected, they're actually not parties to the case. We've had a number of people ask questions, and I love it when people ask questions about this, because some people think that, like, I forget exactly what the questions were, but basically the victims would have a say in this or that. And, the victims are not a party, right? Now, if there's a civil lawsuit, for example, like a wrongful death, because sometimes you can have, oftentimes you can have both, right? Where there's criminal and civil for the same issue, right? Karen Reed's an example because she's being sued for wrongful death, right? So in that case, then you have the parties, which is the plaintiff, that's who's filed the lawsuit, right? So in a wrongful death case, it's going to be the victim's family. Now they're a party, right? Because now you've got the plaintiffs versus the defendants. And in that case, it's it's not criminal. So I understand what he's saying, but again, this is not the first time in this one video where he sadly seems to have not really a whole lot of, like, what's the right way to say it? Understanding about the judicial system and the legal process and the law. And again, I can't fault him for that. Like I've said before, I think that as we go along watching trials and, I mean, what I've seen time and time again is like, I wish that there was a way for people in this country and other countries to understand their judicial system better, to understand their own rights. And I will say that like LawTube has pioneered or paved the way for that to happen, I would say. But it's easy to forget how just most people on average in this country, at least, really don't understand, right? So anyway, in other words, I'm not hearing from him things that are completely out of the ordinary for other people who are not watching trials or following cases or are exposed to legal education via people like on LawTube and whatnot, right? So I just wanted to point that out, that I understand how he feels that way. But again, it just shows that there's a lacking in this, again, I would say in this country for most people, and I'm not blaming them, but just most people don't understand, right? So official quit his vape today. Excellent. Congrats. Also, let me see what else you guys are saying. Welcome on in, Leslie and Billy. Right. Yeah, he doesn't understand that. And again, I have not, this is the first interview of his I've seen since since the murders first happened. I have not seen anything in between. But yeah, they do have a victim's advocate. They actually referenced the victim's advocate earlier in this interview, which we watched on part 1. And they did talk briefly about the victim's advocate. They did talk briefly about it. Okay, will do, Heather. They do have some rights. That's true. And that varies by the state. There's been a lot of legislature really working towards that. And as we know, it's a slow process. But those rights don't really apply until the trial and like sentencing, like, for example, they have the right to speak at sentencing, and some other things, but they're minimal, right? But they are becoming more, there's more sensitivity to those and more and changes from what I've seen. But of course, it's nothing compared to the defendant's rights, obviously. Twiz needs a victim's advocate. Twiz! Oh my God. You guys, Twiz hasn't done his twerk out yet today, just so y'all know. Y'all are so funny. Y'all are so funny. Okay.
And their rights, the fastest way.
That's Judge Hippler you're talking about, who's taken over the case from Judge John.
Yeah, Judge Hitler. Yeah. He took it over, and he took it over with vengeance, and he had a mission to get this thing back on track, because realistically, we went 2 years without a schedule. I mean, they would literally be in that courtroom and say, "What do we got to do to get to a schedule?" And then they'd say, "Well, you're going to have to make decisions on the schedule." And then we would leave, and they'd say, "Well, we're going to have to make a schedule." And so we're not doing that anymore. We got somebody here who can make decisions right there in the courtroom, and I appreciate that. And it's something that we had to have. We had to have somebody come in there and start getting through this and setting some timeline. So that's a positive. But
I think you mentioned some of the details that the coroner. I had a conversation with the coroner early in the case, and to us that Xana had some very severe defensive wounds. Like Xana had fought very, very.
Was there? Oh my God! Sorry for that pause. Sorry, not sorry. Was there actually a coroner or was it an Emmy? I can't remember. Was it a coroner or an Emmy? I'm going to show this picture to you guys. Hang on. It's thanks for this, Heather and via Meg. Okay, give me just 1 second. Okay, that's downloaded. Okay, give me just a second. It is related to your beard, Twiz. Okay. Oh my God, this is so good. There's going to be a caption to this. I'll just say it verbally, orally. That's what she said. Hold on. Okay. This is if Twiz was a Disney princess. Isn't this amazing? This is the best thing ever. Yeah, thanks, Heather. Dude. Isn't that the best? It's Retwiz-pole. Very few actwizities when you're stuck in the tower. Am I right? Oh my God. I love it so much. Twiz, did you have your yogurt yet? Okay, let's go back to the interview. Oh my God. Okay. There you go, guys.
Aggressively with this killer. And I think that the coroner may have shared something with you about some of the injuries that Kaylee had, right?
Yeah, she did. And she was struck in the face. Her nose was broken. There was multiple hits from what I've been told, and I'm trying to be careful with my words. But the blows that he sustained and delivered to her would have killed her.
Really?
Yeah.
If the knife wounds hadn't, the blows would have?
Yeah.
Was there any other detail that the coroner shared?
Yeah, there's definitely other details, but I'm going to let them have the opportunity to release that information because I don't want to overstep them, but it sounds like it's about to come out. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I appreciate that he's not giving more details and we will see. Well, her neck looks kind of weird, doesn't it, guys? We will see if those details, it sounds like from what he's saying, they might be coming out soon in the court filings. And we will see them. I think that this is not good for the state, though. We talked about this a little bit last time because she mentions this at the beginning of this video. And I just don't know how when you've got the time frame that you have and one defendant, right now, you've just added a complexity into what type of weapon was used. And anyway, we will talk more about it, I guess, when those details come out. But I feel like this is going to be another challenge for the state.
Anything that you can share that wouldn't compromise the case?
That's the thing. It's why
you already said no, Ashley. Let it go.
Ask for more communication because it's things like this where we're like, you can tell us a safe thing to bring up, and you can tell us when this stuff's going to come out, or you could just let us figure it out on our own. Because I told him, you met a father who's not going to. I'm not going to remain silent. Not over this. My daughter would expect me to stand up for her, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'll go to jail if that's what it comes down to. If you're going to arrest me because you need me.
Why would you go to jail?
To be silent and think I'm going to protect the guy who killed my kid. I'm never going to protect him. Once I knew that he was guilty, and that wasn't right off the bat. It took.
What? Hang on. Hold on. Now I'm really confused. Hold on. Is he talking about? Hold on.
I'll go to jail if that's what it comes down to. If you're going to arrest me because you need me to be silent and think I'm going to protect the guy who killed my kid, I'm never going to protect him. Once I knew that he was guilty. And
is he talking about a different case? What is he talking about? I don't understand how that's possible. We haven't had a trial. Am I confused? Tell me, back it up. Is he talking about something else? Hold on.
I'm going to remain silent. Not over this. My daughter would expect me to stand up for her, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'll go to jail if that's what it comes down to. If you're going to arrest me because you need me to be silent and think I'm going to protect the guy who killed my kid, I'm never going to protect him.
I mean, now that is a normal thing for parents to say, right, in a situation like this. Again, I understand victims feel certain way. Like, it's understandable, right? It's understandable. This is why I said you always take it with heaping piles of salt, because, it's going to be, everything is going to be seen through a certain lens, right? If you're the parents of a kid that is murdered or whatever. But that's different than the next part.
Once I knew that he was guilty. And
that's a legal determination. So different. How? What? I don't. Once I knew he was guilty, I don't know how that is possible. Yeah, you could be right. Okay. I mean, but the thing is like, I don't know why he would go to jail, because apparently the gag order doesn't apply to him. So I actually was asking a question about that last night, because I don't follow what they do, and I didn't know. And then actually shout out to, I think it was Stevie B, who put a comment in there and said that the gag order was just for the attorney. Once he said that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that from like a bazillion years ago, right? So the gag order does not apply to him. So I don't know why. He wouldn't go to jail, even if the gag order did apply to him, they wouldn't put him in jail. That's not what happens. Like, you're not going to go to jail for that. So I don't know. What are you referencing here, ABC Stockett? So it's, in other words, it's like, I think he's trying to like make a point, right? Where it gets confusing for me is like when you throw in like the legal terminology, like, okay, like for example, if he said like, I would do anything to make sure I speak up for my daughter, fine. That's great. That sounds normal. That's all good. But if it's like, I would be going to go to jail, it's like, well, see, now you've got me like thinking like, well, hang on, now that's, you wouldn't be going to jail, right? You see what I mean? That's just my own brain though. Same thing with like guilty, because that's a legal determination. So it's just, if you're going to exaggerate or not exaggerate, either way, I don't know, just the terminology, guys. Okay.
That wasn't right off the bat. It took me a considerable amount of information and facts before I made a decision that, all right, they got the right guy. And then at that point, it was just, what can I do to help? How can we get this over, get this process started?
Shout out to David
let
A.
people know that the evidence and the facts are there, and then we can just get this done. Because
there was a time I did have a conversation with you, a couple of conversations, I'd say like a year ago, where I feel like you really were concerned that he was going to get off. Like you were starting to really question the evidence, the case against him, the case that Ann Taylor was building. Is that accurate to say that you started to really fear?
Yeah, there was fear. There was such a lack of leadership in the courtroom. There was things that were just going all over the place, and nothing was really getting done. So yeah, I got nervous there. I had insight on things that are still not public. I knew a lot of different things that I just didn't understand why you would hide such strong evidence. And so, you start wondering, is something else going on? Do they just want this case to go away to where, let's just get it out of the community, protect the businesses, and once we're out of the community, we'll make a plea bargain and keep everything sealed. Maybe once the plea bargain's done, some of it comes out, but by then nobody even cares. And that's just a father just trying to struggle with how this process works. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was over, nervous, or just wasting my time worrying about things that weren't going to happen. But I didn't know. I just knew that a case shouldn't be going in the direction that it was going. And I was like, we got to do something. And, you know, I feel like it got back, but it took leaving that community, which was something we thought we wanted to keep it there. So, but in the end, is what was needed.
Let's talk about this detail that you've learned about Bryan Kohberger.
I don't understand. Okay. I mean, again, maybe I'm just out of the loop. I don't understand how anything that he did had anything to do with the change in terms of, from what he's saying, right? The change in terms of documents being sealed and the pace of the trial and whatnot, all that is really due to Judge Hippler, which is only happening because there was a change of venue that was granted. Now, even in this interview, he has said he didn't want the change of venue, and he literally just said that now. So I don't understand. He's like saying hold on, let's just see. Like he was fighting for it. I'm just confused. Hold on.
We'll make a plea bargain and keep everything sealed. You know, maybe once the plea bargain's done, some of it comes out, but by then nobody even cares. You know, and that's just a father just trying to struggle with how this process works. And maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was nervous or just wasting my time worrying about things that weren't going to happen. But I didn't know. You know, I just knew that a case shouldn't be going in the direction that it was going. And I was like, we got to do something. And, you know, I feel like
we got to do something. We got to do something. So we got to do something. I don't know. Right. He didn't want the venue change. Right. Exactly. He said that. I mean, he said that earlier. He made again, part one, guys, right? He mentioned, it was really weird how he like attacked Ann Taylor personally. I have it timestamped in part one for anyone who missed it. There's a specific timestamp for that. And that was interesting. And so I don't know. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat though. Welcome, Carla. Welcome on in toes. That doesn't surprise me, Miss Mojo, that there were guards there when he's in the courtroom. So yeah, I mean, why is everyone talking about her neck? Because I asked a question about her neck, Twiz. Is there another Twiz picture? Welcome, Doug. Is there another new Twiz picture? Yeah, I don't know. It seems like he's trying to express that he's glad that there's a change of venue because of the documents and things, and the change of pace, but also it's contradicting what he's already said, which is that he hates that there was a change of venue. That's what this sounds like to me. It's like a Jen McCabe situation. You can't have both at the same time, but some try, I suppose.
Got back, but it took leaving that community, which was something we thought we wanted to keep it there. So, but in the end, is what was needed.
Let's talk about this.
I believe we have a new squirrel friend and literally has a squirrel. Oh my God, Pamela, you are in the right place. Welcome. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the Squirrel Crew in a major, major way. You guys are so funny. Oh my God. I wonder if Meg is sending me. Okay. She's sending me another thing. Cool. Okay, I'll do it. So welcome in, Pamela. Love that. Are you a big squirrel fan? I'm a big squirrel fan for anyone who didn't know that. Okay, I'm going to go look for this picture.
The detail that you've learned about Bryan Kohberger. We were all shocked to see the photograph, the selfie that was snapped just hours after the murders in front of his shower. But you've learned what he did after that. What was it?
Yeah, I learned about a tally of some girls that were having conflicts and feeling like he was doing things that were making them very nervous, following them outside of the classroom, standing in front of the door.
I mean, isn't this I remember hearing these rumors from day one because this is what they always do. So I don't think this is like new information. I mean, is it reliable? I would say no. Is it like just like a bazillion layers of hearsay? Yeah. Anyway.
Forcing them to go around him, basically forcing interactions, and they're just trying to do everything to avoid him. So how I understand it, they communicated this to.
Are they going to be called as witnesses at trial to testify to this? I would love to see that in a way that, as in, that would be really funny.
Management structure there. They said document things. They started documenting that this tally that they put together.
Welcome.
And from that,
what is that called? You're saying a tally? What was that?
I thought it was called like the Bryan tally. Is what it was described to me as.
I'm not sure. Is this the place he works?
Yes. This is the classroom in which he's a teacher aide in.
That's the name of the classroom. I hadn't heard the name before, but that's what this is. So this is basically the classroom where he is working. He's making everybody feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and the tally is when they went to I don't know if it was HR, but they went to people in the school and said, "Hey."
I'm sorry, I just have to pause this. Pamela is a huge squirrel lover. Feeds them daily long story. Feel free to share your story. Actually, the Discord is a good place to do that because there's no limit on text like there is in the YouTube chat. And also you can do voice texts. Like you can speak it if you want and then send that. And anyway, the Discord is awesome. So also I'm going to be sharing with you guys another picture here in a sec.
I noticed something, this girl knows something, but it's still kind of hearsay. So then they're saying document.
Well, okay. Good for him for saying hearsay though.
From where he is working, he's making everybody feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And the tally is when they went to, I don't know if it was HR, but they went to people in the school and said, "Hey, I noticed something, this girl knows something, but it's still kind of hearsay." So then they're saying document it, the time, the place, the things, a witness, those type of things. So they did do that, and that was going on. And
again, I appreciate he said hearsay. It's actually that wouldn't apply in this context, but I'm glad he said hearsay. Okay, so Emily, unsure reshare. So here we have another Twiz, magical Twiz. This is King of the Maps, I believe, is what this was called. Shout out to Meg for making this. You guys, should we do a poll in the chat? Voting? Hold on. I think we're gonna have to because now I've said it. Now I've said it, and now it's too late. Okay, we're gonna have to do a poll. We're gonna do a poll. Hang on. Let's do this correctly. Okay. Which Twiz do you like better? Let me see if I do. Okay, hold on. I just have to unshare, reshare. Twiz 1, or no, we're going to do it this way. Twiz 1, this is the Twiz Punzel. Sorry. I call it Twiz. This is going to be Twiz 1. I'm going to die laughing, you guys. This is Twiz 1. If Twiz was a Disney princess. And then this is Twiz 2. Oh my God. Oh my God. Twiz 1 or Twiz 2? I'm going to make a poll. This is super important. Oh my God. Also, thank you so much to Happy Annie for gifting 5 memberships. Love it. Oh my God, that is so funny. Thank you. The maps all say Idaho in the back. That is hilarious. I have a feeling which one Twiz would pick. I have a feeling which one I would pick. Oh, it's so good. Okay, this is pick 1. Twiz Punzel. Let down your beard. If Twiz was a Disney princess. Look at all the little boys climbing on it. Hold on. Let's just take a moment to appreciate all the little boys climbing on it. That's that's a really special detail. It's all little boys. Little boy, baby boy, I love you. Oh my God, I'm dying. I'm gonna make a poll. We're gonna do it official. And for anyone who's just joining us, Twiz is in the chat. Twiz is our mod, and these are all related to Twiz. Oh, you've got one with him in a pink princess gown. Oh no, we need that. We need the pink princess gown, but then we're going to have 3 options, guys. So I promise you we'll be getting back to Idaho here in a second, but like, this is clearly very important. Oh my God. Should we include the other? I guess I should wait to make the poll until Meg sends me. Are you going to send me the princess gown? I feel like we need that now. the little boys on Twiz appeared. Oh my God. Okay, we'll table that and see if Meg's going to send me another picture. And in the meantime, we will go back to the testimony, or not the testimony, the interview here. Okay, give me just a second. Y'all, wait for the poll. Okay, thank you, Meg. Meg, hold on. Never mind. Meg sent it. Y'all, we're going to have a poll. We're doing this the right way. Like Christina Aguilera, Genie in a Bottle. Rub me the right way. Okay, hang on. Let me. Oh my God, the pink dress. You guys are going to die. Hold on. This is going to change everything. Be glad we didn't make the poll. Oh my God, Meg. Oh my God, you guys. Just wait till you see this one. Oh my God. 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 The eyes in this picture are killing. This is so funny. This is so funny. Hang on. You guys. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. I don't know if it can get any better. Okay. Hang on. I'm going to have to unshare, reshare. I think. Or will it let me? Hang on. Maybe it'll work. Let me just see. Yep. Okay. All right. Let's start over with this. Okay. We're starting over. Oh my God. I'm not trying to, I'm going to try to be completely objective. Okay. I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to, sorry. I already failed at that, didn't I? I'm going to just say Twiz 1, Twiz 2. You guys, I can't do it. Oh my God. Okay. And I'm going to name these in the poll. So Twiz 1 will be Twiz Punzel. Okay. So people can remember which one's which. Twiz 2 is Twiz, king of the maps. And Twiz 3 will be, what should we call this? Pink dress Twiz? Princess Twiz. If Twiz 1 is Twiz Punzel, should this be Princess Twiz or Pink Dress Twiz? What do you guys, don't vote yet. I need a name so I can make the poll. We'll call it Pink Dress Twiz. How about that? Okay, I have to make the poll, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to make the poll. Give me a second. Oh my God, it's just so good. It is flesh toned, isn't it, Heather? Wow. Amazing. Well done, Meg. Look at the hope in the Twiz's eyes. It's like, am I going to find my Prince Charming? Look at the twinkle in the eyes. Oh my God, I can't. People that are like, oh, I'm new. It's like they're probably like very confused. It's okay. Don't worry, guys. You'll understand if you're new here. Okay, let me start the poll. I'm making the poll. Okay. Which Twiz, how should I say it? Which Twiz is your favorite? Well, we should say which magical Twiz. Magical, we'll say magical fantasy Twiz. Fairy tale. Let's do it that way. Which fairy tale Twiz? We'll just call it that way. Okay, how about that? I'm literally typing this. Which fairy tale Twiz is your favorite? Okay, so Twiz 1 is, I'm calling it Twiz Punzel. Plus little boys. Twiz 2 is Twiz, king of, you guys are going to love this when it's done, I promise you, king of the maps. And then Twiz 3 is, we'll go with pink dress. We'll combine them. Pink dress, princess, Twiz. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, there it is. Can you guys see the poll? Oh my God, I love it so much. There it is. Which fairy tale Twiz is your favorite? Oh my God. Are y'all voting? This is the best poll we've ever done. Let's review them again for anyone who's just getting here. Here we go. Twiz 1. y'all. Twiz one. Twiz one with the little boys. Twiz 2, King of the Mouse. And Twiz 3. Okay. We're going back to the interview. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Meg, for being amazing. That was great. Wow. I love it. All right. Back to this.
That's how we found out that he missed school Monday after taking that photo.
Tinkerbell, that's
where he doesn't look sick to me. But what does that give him? That gives him a whole day to like go over figuring out how they're responding to what he's done. So he could sit there, gloat, and Google search, do the same things we were doing to try to figure out what was going on.
Or continue, if he's the guilty party, continue cleaning up, continue making sure that there's not a trace left.
Well, I hope and I suspect that the searches that he did before the 911 call will do him in. The activities that he did before anyone knew what happened, those will be the final nail in this case.
Well, for a criminology PhD, doesn't seem very smart. I mean, who buys a knife and a sheath and a sharpener online and has it delivered to your parents' house? And who goes after a killing where the sheath is left behind and the murder weapon's disposed of to find a replacement knife and sheath online? Who does that?
I think even if you're somewhat intelligent, your human instinct, you start racking your brain and you started worrying, like, what if if the cops knock on my door and say, well, we couldn't help but notice you bought one of these. Where's yours at? You wanted to have one. You want to be like, here it is right here. It's in my fishing tackle box, some story he was going to make up. But
that makes sense. Just buying it yourself online. I mean, online purchases is 101 in criminology. Who is this guy? How could he possibly be in a PhD program?
Yeah. And, but
so either he's not in a PhD program or he didn't do what you just described with the knife. That's the options, right? By the way, I can't edit the name in the poll. I saw the Twizzle bell, which is hilarious, but I already have it up. It won't let me edit it, guys. I can only end it. So we're going to have to just remember Twizzle bell in our minds. So yeah.
I've heard that he tried to hide that with a gift card that was given to him. He thought maybe he could avoid the transaction by using a gift card and then deleting all of his history and deleting all of the proof that it was associated with this count. But
Where did you hear that?
There's some documents out there that talk about him deleting his Amazon history.
You mean the court documents? So we've read all those. I mean, where did you hear that? I love how she's like, where did you hear that? Like, as in like a rumor. I at least appreciate that he's like, it's the court docs he's referencing.
And,
but the gift card part.
That's not. Oh, that's not exactly what they say. Obviously.
Where'd that come from?
It's been 2.5 years, to be honest. At the top of my head, I don't know where I heard the gift card. I don't know. I'm
not sure if it's authorities or if it's just sort of in the reporting.
I recall Judge Hippler saying it in a hearing. Is that where you guys were? Do you guys recall that? I recall that.
In sort of ether?
Not even sure. I
recall Judge Hippler saying it in one of the hearings.
I would definitely not say the authorities because I don't want to tie their hands to say that they gave me something that isn't an official doc.
It came from Judge Hippler. It came from Judge Hippler when he was posing a hypothetical in one of those hearings. That's what I recall. Yeah,
I definitely heard about the gift card. But like I said, I've heard of a lot of things because I've had a lot of ears and a lot of eyes, and I did a lot of calls. And
I don't know what the gift card matters one way or the other. It sounded like he was referencing an Amazon gift card. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's a family household account.
I did a lot of calls, investigated, talked to WSU employees.
I recall that from like the hearings on the motions to suppress, right? I think that's where they talked about that.
UI employees talked to basically anybody who's willing to help a dad out. And there was a lot of people in the community that were willing to help me.
What else do you know that I don't know? That at this point, you're sort of at the leading edge of it and where the fountain of information is starting to flow. The gag order, we are soon to see pretty much gone. The documents are dropping. Yeah, but what else is it that you know that we don't know?
Not done the research on any of it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what everyone knows.
Fair point. He's like objection speculation.
I just know that there is other aspects of the case that they want to drop that hammer in the courtroom. And
she said a lot of crazy things.
That's where we're at. I can't share too much, but I think it's coming out. I think Hitler's strategy is by the day we go into the courtroom, some percentage, and probably in his head, is going to be out. And I've kind of heard that came from the media pressure. The media themselves, who had a challenge to the gag order, basically said, this is not something that is in law. Like, gag orders are for national security. Gag orders are not usually for an everyday crime in the state. I mean,
well, they're getting more popular, Steve. And let me tell you, I have been on a tear about the increased use and the broad range of the gags over these cases. And there's always the same excuse. We've got to protect the rights of the defendant. I get that. But if O.J. Simpson could get a verdict of not guilty with the amount of coverage on that case, arguably there's never been another case that's been as highly covered as O.J. And Michael Jackson, same thing. There was a case, and Beretta. I mean, case after case after.
Michael Jackson? Was there a Michael Jackson trial that I don't know about? Hold on, wait, stop. Michael Jackson? He didn't have a trial, did he? How would I not know about this? I mean, I guess it's possible because I was probably not born yet when I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, what now? Here's what I will say. I understand what she's saying. Kind of. The whole Michael Jackson thing is confusing to me. But, and I was really young when OJ happened, right? Oh, there was a Michael Jackson trial? Wow. When was that, guys? Was that before I was born? Interesting. I think not that it's not a criminal trial, but Death Be Heard, I think, has probably had so much publicity. I mean, from everyone who was there, right? We were talking about this recently. They were like, I mean, it was just unmatched. But anywho, what I would say, though, is that there is a difference in terms of, I don't know, like, did she name any trials recently? Let me back it up. Let me just back this up a second. Back it up. Because
in law, like, gag orders are for national security. Gag orders are not usually for an everyday crime in a state. I mean,
they're getting more popular, Steve. And let me tell you, I have been on a tear about the increased use and the broad range of the gags over these cases. And there's always the same excuse. We've got to protect the rights of the defendant. I get that. But if O.J. Simpson could get a verdict of not guilty with the...
I find it interesting she's the same excuse. Okay, so she's saying O.J. Simpson...
the amount of coverage on that case, arguably there's never been another case that's been as highly covered as O.J. And Michael Jackson, same thing. There was a case, and Beretta. I mean...
I have no idea. I've never even heard of Beretta. And I didn't know Michael Jackson had a trial. So I'm wondering, I know when OJ happened, I'm wondering when the others happened, because what I was going to point out is that there is a difference in terms of now versus, at least if you compare to OJ, right? Because of social media, right? To where things are different when they're spreading to people. Blake, I mean, that name rings a bell. Is that the Beretta? I don't remember Blake. Huh. And then, there was something else I was going to say. I don't remember what it was, though. Oliver North? Never heard of that. Why are you going to be mad at Nightbot? Yeah, I've never heard it. So interesting. Are these all older trials? Oh, I know what I was going to say, though. One important thing to remember, right, is like in federal trials, it's all gag. I mean, there's just, good luck with that, right? And of course, there's no cameras allowed. So, I mean, not that I agree with that. Don't think that should be young. Well, thank you for that, Uncat. Jodi Arias. Yeah, that's another one, but that's an older trial, right? I'm thinking like the trials that predate social media really taking off in the way that it has, right? To where that is like where information gets spread like rapid fire, and also disinformation, misinformation, BS, rumors, hearsay. Anywho, Jackson was 90s. Okay, thank you for that, Tanel. Okay, so 90s, that makes sense. I was just a kid. So, and then the Beretta one, or whatever it was called. Yeah, Beretta. So these, so far, if you go with Jackson and OJ, those are way before social media. So, I have no idea what that is. my gosh. Amy Fisher. I don't know who that. Y'all, I don't know these trials somehow, which is crazy. So Bill Clinton had a trial? Oh my God. What? Are you guys just making things up? Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. I mean, and that's the thing is, right, like back with OJ, right? Wouldn't you have had to have had cable TV and like there wasn't a YouTube? So it's like you would have to have been watching it live on cable. Think about how like what a small portion of the population. Actually, I know we've had some squirrel friends in the chat who said that they would like VHS it because they were at work and then they would like come home and watch the VHSs. But like think about the difference between that versus now and the accessibility, right? But of course, I still feel like there should always be cameras in the courtroom for trials, all trials, even though federal will never have them. Oh, well, that was like that. Was that a trial or was that like a government trial thing? You know, I'm 22, 350. Interesting. Wow. Right. I remember Monica Lewinsky. Was there like a criminal trial for that? Or was it just like an impeachment trial thing? That's what I thought happened, you know, within the government thing. Anywho. Okay, let's see what else they say.
Case after case after case, you can say highly publicized cases has still returned not guilty verdicts. So it's hard to convince me that a lot of publication can damage the defendant. Sometimes it can work in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. I believe if you're innocent, it 100% helps you. And even if there's not a case
still before
that is very strong, the facts, as stuff comes out, you should be able to combat it. I don't know what a gag order really does, but to protect somebody who's guilty. I mean, if the facts of the case as they come out.
Well, okay, you guys. You're saying as they come out before trial? Well, first of all, whether facts come out or not, that's the reason there is a trial, because the jury is the trier of fact. So there's a dispute over the facts, and that's why there's a trial in the first place. Second of all, until trial, they can't be verified, even when they come from the court. Like, they haven't been put before a jury. Does he not understand?
If there's not a case that is very strong, the facts, as stuff comes out, you should be able to combat it. I don't know what a gag order really does, but to protect somebody who's guilty. I mean, if the facts.
That's impossible, because how can someone be guilty until a trial happens? I don't understand. It's like is he confused of the order of how things happen?
Of the case, as they come out, if those make you look guilty.
Hi, Jeff.
You want silence. You want to hide it. You want to keep it. You want to keep it out. But most people would just be like, throw them out, and I'll prove them. I'll knock them. I'll knock them out of the park is inaccurate.
Well, the fear is the poisoning of the jury pool with facts that may not qualify to be entered into evidence in the trial, and yet there they are. They know it anyway because of the media. But I keep going back to OJ. Plenty of things were suppressed in the OJ case, and it was all over the press. Karen Reed is another case. There's a case that is at retrial now, and it is a constant. I mean, there's docuseries, there's dramatic series, there's all sorts of coverage on Karen Reed, and she had a hung jury. So we'll see what happens this time. But I'm not one of those people who believes that a gag order serves American jurisprudence. We pride ourselves on having such a pristine, open.
There's just so much to say. I'm just going to keep playing it because otherwise we'll never finish this video.
Honest and transparent system of justice in this country, that everybody gets a fair defense, and if you're guilty, away you go. But you get your defense, you get your day in court, and that's something we should all be very proud of. But is there a detail? Is there a fact pattern, an area in this case that you got blind spots and you are waiting? It is the specific area that you want resolved the most, details that you're waiting for the most.
Thank you.
You know what? I've always questioned why there wasn't more some warrants on certain things, things that have came out. I follow the warrants because the warrants I feel like are like the cheat code to figuring out where the truth is. When you hear these suspects, but there's no warrant related to them, then you can kind of toss those out. So I've made inquiries on certain things like, why have we not heard a warrant about this or that? Maybe accounts for my child. things that I know personally about. So those are just trying to make sure that the case is perfect and everything is right. It probably just me.
So it sounds to me that he has questions about some choices being made by the prosecution. Is that how you guys interpret that? That's what that sounds like. He's like, why do they not have this thing or that thing? Huh.
Warrant about this or that, maybe accounts for my child, things that I know personally about. So those are just trying to make sure that the case is perfect and everything is right. It's probably just me worrying for no reason, but those are the type of things that I'll ask Shannon to reach out and say, hey, can we make sure that they know about all these accounts and clarify everything.
But there isn't something forensically like I personally keep thinking, how did the killer get out the sliding door of the kitchen, get to the car, get into the car, get to wherever the dumping ground was to get rid of the bloody clothing, the knife, and all the other implements of the crime, and get back to an apartment. And if it's Kohberger's apartment, all without leaving a forensic trail that was, a beacon of blinking lights, because that didn't exist. And I keep wondering what did that killer do to hide those tracks so well?
Okay, right, or credit is due. At least now she's shifted a little bit, and the languaging has gone from earlier before he took the interview with her, right? Like in the beginning of this video. Again, we watched this on part 1. She was very much, it was like there was no presumption of innocence. It was definitely him. He's a monster. And it drove me, I mean, again, we watched it. It's time-stamped. And it was like, wow, at least here, she's actually like, if it's him, da-da-da. So appreciate that. And second of all, I appreciate one of the questions I had from part 1 was, is she going to address any of the elephants in the room? Is she going to address any? This is the first time I've seen her actually ask this question of like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, at least this is a step in the right direction. Yes.
Get to the car, get into the car, get to wherever the dumping ground was to get rid of the bloody clothing, the knife, and all the other implements of the crime, and get back to an apartment. And if it's Kohberger's apartment, all without leaving a forensic trail that was, a beacon of blinking lights, because that didn't exist. And I keep wondering
it's a great question.
That killer do to hide those tracks so well?
It's what if I said the killer actually wrote what he would do? Because Bryan wrote a paper saying how he would go into a crime scene and not leave any evidence in that crime scene. So I think you just need to read what he wrote. He wrote exactly what he did, and he probably did more. Who knows what he learned in that Reddit post where he interviewed criminals that got caught or got away with different crimes. And, I believe he incorporated those into his night of action. So
talking about,
I think he came to that slider.
Because the school paper was not about how you commit a crime and get away with it. It was about how you investigate a crime scene as law enforcement. So the complete opposite. Is that what he's referencing? Because literally that's the complete opposite. Okay, right. Okay. I see, literally I'm sitting here like, wait, is there something else I don't know about? Of course, it could be, because again, I only rely on what's court record. So, I just didn't know. So if he's referencing that same paper, we read through it. Wow, that's crazy. If that's what he's saying, wow. That's another one I don't know. Daron Ravi, what did that person do? Yeah, that's complete opposite of what the paper was about. And literally, it was just like textbook. Actually, one of my comments on it was, I was like, to me, it looks like it was an open book test. And he would say, another thing that stuck out to me was he said we as in putting himself in with law enforcement. So weirdness, very weird. That's just, wow. So here, though, the paper that came in one of the court filings, because we covered it. So I think that he is trying to rely on the court record here with that paper that came up in one of the filings. However, he's just got it completely wrong. Like he didn't read it, maybe, or something, or his brain changed what it said, which I can understand. Grief can have effects on people, so maybe that's what it was. That is very interesting. Kat. Wow. When was that one from? Let's all be nice to everybody in the chat, please. Nice, because that's what scroll friends are for, right? Wow, that is crazy. She made approximately $3 million last year. Wow. My understanding is that people don't get paid to take interviews. That's what I've heard from a lot of different reporters and stuff, because that's like part of their code. It's like if you pay people to do an interview, then what's the point? Because it taints the interview. Now, having said that, that might just be like reporters or journalists with like a lot of ethics. I don't know, but I can't remember where. Like I've heard that from a number of people, but I think they were in that reputable category. So, where like they're not going to pay someone for an interview, because then obviously that whatever they say in the interview is obviously garbage, right? Yeah, the panelists on Court TV, they all volunteer. They don't get paid. They don't get paid. They don't get paid. Right. Yeah, we heard that earlier. I think that you're referencing something regarding Kaylee's head injury, I think, if it's from what we already heard.
Opened it up whatever way he did, left it open, left some things outside at that slider, part of his kit, part of his plastic bag, whatever it was, went in, did his thing, was covered in a Dickie outfit from neck to toe, had this hood thing on that they also got that coming to his house. If you attack this guy, you wouldn't scratch him. You wouldn't be able to get your hands on him. The only place would be his eyes, and gloves on. I think people underestimate if you know what you're doing and you want to go in there and you got a mission and you've been planning it out, you can get into that house. I've seen the models. I've seen the 3D models where they're in and out, sometimes in like 5 minutes. So there's a couple of them depending on the path that they take. But yeah.
Interesting, because in the filing there, Detective Gilbertson says 2 to 4 minutes.
I mean, when you really watch a timer and you see the amount of time this person's been in the house, he had more than enough time, and then he got right back out. I mean, his door to the slider is the same technique that he used to the doors into the room. He just didn't want to touch anything. He went in there with the plan, studied. I mean, he spent years and years in these classes just reading and admiring these other killers.
On-court TV, and I know for sure that
he was basically planning out to do his version of what they did and incorporate what they did and their mistakes and try to be that much better than them. So I think that's what you're going to see. He went in there, had a plan, did what he did, and then he bailed. And he bailed, and he had a shovel in the back car. I would assume that the shovel had something to do with wherever he went. He buried that thing and got rid of that. Maybe he had plastic on the seats. Maybe his trunk was lined with something. Tosses it all in there.
What this sounds like to me. This sounds like the question that she asked. The way this sounds like to me is it's a question he's asked himself, and he's thought about it, and he's tried to answer it. I can't blame him. He's the victim's dad, or one of the victim's dads, right? I can't blame him. Like, that's what this sounds like to me, because none of this there's nothing to support any of this. This sounds like when you're posed with this question, like, how did he do it, right? Like she asked, and it's like what your imagination came up with. That's what this sounds like to me.
He's gone, and the path that he took, there isn't even street lights. I mean, it's dark roads and nothing but fields, open farm fields that you could drive up.
And water, lots of lakes.
Lots of water too. So I don't think once he got to that door, he was gone. He was gone.
Do you think, again, if it's Bryan Kohberger, I have to say that because he's got his day in court, he's innocent until proven guilty. But if it's Bryan Kohberger, do you think when do you think he chose his victims?
I mean, how would he have any insight as to this, though? I mean, it's not. I don't like this question, y'all. It's just not. This is not an appropriate question at all. And if it were me, I would be like, I am not going to speculate onto anything like that. Like, yeah, speculation big time. It'll be interesting. Let's see how he answers it, guys.
We wonder. Like, I honestly, my personal thing is he probably did it in Pennsylvania when he gets the murder weapon. When he sends that to his house, he's made a commitment internally that's what he's going to do, and that's where he's going. Again,
you ask the father of a murder victim a question like that, and they're going to come up with an answer. I I can't blame him for letting his mind and his imagination try to fill in these gaps because it's hard. I get it. I blame her for asking the question.
I mean, I think that there's murders out here, in this area of the Northwest that intrigued him. And some of them, the people were never caught. There's like a Lewis and Clark killer, got away with 5, even killed somebody from U of I, and then was never.
But when do you think he chose this house and these kids?
With social media, he could have done it long before, but it really comes down to
you disagree. You think that you blame him for the answer too, or what? Or maybe you're disagreeing with what somebody else said. I mean, I guess one could also disagree with that him answering it that way, but I'm giving room and grace for someone who, again, if you're the family, everything you see is through that certain lens with grief. And I understand that. And I understand. And that's exactly why I will say, right. It's like, you have to just keep that in mind. It's not to blame him. It's not to blame him. I mean, he's a grieving father, right? Yeah, terrible interview. So we agree then. Terrible interview. I agree with that. We agree on that for sure.
Like how in tune he was with, I personally think he was listening to 911 calls. I think he had an ability to listen to those calls, and he was just being a fly on the wall for a few weeks and figuring out what was going on, where the party's at, where were the girls at.
Again, this is all to me like his imagination. I get it. Like this makes sense. If you're the dad and you're like lying awake at night and you're like trying to like answer all these, like this literally is like what your imagination would do. And I get it. There's nothing to support any of this, right?
What were things going on? Where were the cool, popular kids at? And then he just started doing his thing and started doing a surveillance. And he started driving around like at least 23 different times. He was driving around a dead-end road. And you can say he was shopping, but good luck trying to convince us all that you were out shopping.
Have you heard any information that he was driving around any other homes? The number of times that he was driving around 1122 King Road? Like, have police ever said, we've discovered other surveillance where he spent an inordinate amount of time around another house or another location?
No. They have said that he spent an enormous amount of time around that address. And I think maybe that's what they were trying to say when they said this was targeted. And I feel like those were weird words to use. It made it sound like the kids were involved in something that made him targeted and started a bunch of rumors. But I think it was targeted because they were doing that cast.
What? That's odd, huh? What? Who? What?
And I feel like they were
around another house or another location.
No. They have said that he spent an enormous amount of time around that address. And I think maybe that's what they were trying to say when they said this was targeted. And I feel like,
is he referencing the press conference from back in the day that we actually watched recently? Is that what he's referencing? Because if that's what he's referencing, I'm really confused. Like that's literally every single case, right? Every time there's something like they're gonna say targeted literally means it's not a random killing spree. Like in other words, that they say this for one reason, and it's so that the public doesn't panic. Is that what he's referencing? I'm confused.
Those were weird words to use. It made it sound like the kids were involved in something that made him targeted and started a bunch of rumors. But I think it was targeted because they were doing.
Why would rumors start? Why would rumors start? I'm confused. Why would rumors be starting? Or is it because people are dumb? Like the rumors starting because people don't know what things mean? I don't know. I can't. It's hard. It's okay. It's hard to like relate to how people that start rumors. I can't. I don't even know. I don't know. Let me
cast system of that dump. Let them know exactly how many people were in that area that really weren't supposed to be there. They could see normal traffic, normal like roommates and people that were supposed to be in those apartments. And then they can start seeing, okay, this is somebody that's leaving, coming across the state line at a really unusual time. And they started, it's a process of elimination. Who's in this area during these late nights that might not belong here? And I think that's what they're going to show. And I think they're going to show an extensive, like sometimes minute by minute timeline where they know exactly where he was at. And they correlate that with cell phone activity with the girl.
I think I will be honest. I actually feel sad for him here because he's going to be really disappointed in this. He's going to be from what we know, this does not exist. I mean, if I was a parent, I would want a minute by minute timeline. And if you couldn't, if I was a juror, if I'm me, I am me. I want a minute by minute timeline. And when you don't have that, it gets, it's hard to get beyond a reasonable doubt, right?
And I think that's what they're going to show, and I think they're going to show an extensive, like sometimes minute by minute timeline where they know exactly where he was at, and they correlate that with cell phone activity with the girls, what they were doing, where they were at. People, that cast system for all those girls has all been there. The only records that were missing were for the person who turned their phone off. Which again, who turns their phone off at 3 a.m. in a college town
to go stargazing?
Like we said, where's your stargazing app? If you're out there, you got this app that identifies these stars that you're staring at.
That's not even coming. Okay.
Don't play us like fools. Don't just expect us to think you're just walking around clicking at the sky.
Well, that's when the reasonable nature of a juror comes in, right? Like, what's reasonable to you? Is that reasonable? Does that really sound like your gut feels good about that? And jurors are usually pretty good at that stuff. Let me go back to something you mentioned about, I think you said someone reached out to you who had taken one of Bryan Kohberger's Reddit questionnaires. Is that true?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
We actually got a letter on that one, and then in the letter was a number to call. This individual said that they had been called. They got the Reddit. Somebody called to survey them on crimes, and he was like, "I felt like I was getting set up by the cops." So I was just like,
"Okay, hold on. I am lost. Let me back this up a second. I'm like, okay. Oh, the Reddit questionnaires. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
We actually got a letter on that one.
I know.
And then in the letter was a number to call. This individual said that they had been called. They got the Reddit. Somebody called to survey them on crimes, and he was like, "I felt like I was getting set up by the cops." So I was just like, I answered it kind of like over the top. He's like, I kind of embellished some stuff, kind of pulling the cop's leg, hung up. This guy called me back a couple days later, and we start talking again. And he goes, and I start feeling like this guy's like enjoying how I was describing how I was getting away with, like how I selected my victims. And he said, so I told him, I knew these neighborhoods that had a lot of money, and somebody might drink a little too much wine. Somebody might make a call to 911 over a noise complaint. Somebody goes to jail. And when that male went to jail, I'd go to that house, surveil it. And if it looked like there was somebody in that house that was passed out,
I
would go rob that house. And that's how he picked his his victims, I would say. And he would rob them from jewelry, and I don't know what you do nowadays. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but maybe cash or something. But he would rob them. He said that Bryan seemed to enjoy his story, called him a couple of times. He said he was so odd about it that when this case came forward, he was like, I know exactly what this is about. I'm going to reach out, and maybe he's pulling my leg. There's been plenty of people who have sent us stuff that were.
I can't even make heads or tails of what he's talking about. Who's he talking about? I thought this was about the Reddit thing. I'm so confused.
Accurate, but it always stuck with me. It already stuck. There's certain things that stick with you. That one was one of them, and there's other stuff that other letters that we've given back to the prosecution and said we don't even know what to do with this, and they've taken it. So
that was my next question. You shared that with prosecutors. They were interested to hear from these people.
Yeah, I don't know where it goes from there, but yeah, we've definitely given them the letters, and it's kind of like it just seems like it's a dead end. You never hear again. I was hoping I'd get my letter back, but no, we never got anything back, and I've never seen anything like that in the list of evidence. So it probably turned out to be nothing.
Interesting. How are you doing?
I mean, the only thing that can top this, guys, is Murdoch in his first law enforcement interview telling the story about C.B. Rowe and the CIA and the FBI and the undercover Navy SEAL story. Hopefully you guys have all seen that. If you haven't, we have to watch it. No, I'm not saying the whole interview, but that story is honestly unmatched. I will remain unmatched, I do believe. So
I mean, we're 2.5 years. We're down the final stretch here, Steve. You're only a couple months away from jury selection.
It's a new feeling to know that you're coming to the end of something that,
I don't know.
it's been 2 years of your life, over 2 years of your life. And,
Wait, I thought you wanted it to be over quicker. What?
try to think like, what should we do as a family? Should we go on a vacation? Should we do something? Like,
Go on a vacation.
how do you have a next day of your life when your life's been invested and so dedicated to one thing? It's not just me. Kaylee's sisters are super dedicated, and
yeah, it's actually going to be really depressing. There's actually studies on this, guys. People who, for example, people who were diagnosed with cancer and told they have cancer, and especially if it was like end stage cancer, when turns out there was a misdiagnosis or they got the wrong chart or whatever, and like they were like, so these people were told they have like X, however much time to live, right? And are like, now that's their life. And then they're told, hey, guess what? Like, so you don't have cancer. And like the studies show that those people actually struggle with really severe depression when told they don't have cancer, because now their identity is just their whole world's been turned upside down. So the studies that in terms of like these victims' families and stuff, and I mean, I've read a lot about this, especially as it pertains to the death penalty. It's a weird thing, right? And even just on the level of like, it's all right? This is your purpose. Like it's the reason you get up in the morning. It becomes, and now it's like, now what do? You know what I mean? So anyway, we could talk more about that, but I think that just summarizes kind of my thoughts on that one.
Everybody's worked on this case, and then like, you can't let your mind go. So, yeah, we're trying to figure out something, but we have to start planning now that, it sounds like, some subpoenas went out, and I would think if they're going through that, the trial is going to happen when it's supposed to be happening. And,
Who got subpoenaed?
Feel free to ask.
I can't say who got it subpoenaed, but
like family members.
Some people got subpoenaed, and basically told them they need to be available.
Everyone vote in the Twiz poll
for court. So, I think if that came out, then we're going to be sticking to the schedule that Hitler's put out, and that's what I really appreciate, because we've got a lot of money invested in where we're going to stay, and we were well informed by media that there was going to be a rush for houses that would be large enough for my family, and so we got that. So hopefully, we can show up and everything happens on schedule, so we're not jerked around anymore. But some people are trying to say that they need more time, even though they've taken more cases on, and they should never have done anything like that after they strung us all across the state of Idaho. And
there it is again, same expression, strung across the state of Idaho. Yep. He referenced that earlier, but earlier he actually was talking about, and it took me a minute to even realize that's what he was talking about. Again, I have it timestamped in part 1, but he's saying the same thing again here.
Know that subpoenas have gone out. That means that there are dates that they're looking more likely they're going to lock in.
Yep, and that's what I got looking forward to. So, maybe I shouldn't look forward to it, because once we go to court, who knows what that's going to look like. But
wow,
it's the end of the tunnel, and it's been a long, dark tunnel, that's for sure. And you deserve to be out of it. You all deserve to be out of it. But I agree. I don't know what the answer is. What's on the other side for you and your family? This has been you've had a new identity for the last 2.5 years.
Right.
What will it be after?
Right.
And I've told people before, but my wife and my daughter, Kaylee and Maddie, they all love that true crime stuff. And I always thought in my back of my head, like, I ain't going to get caught watching any of that stuff, because that's somebody's real family. That's somebody's real dad, or somebody's real mom, or that's their wife, and lo and behold, it happens to me. So
one thing I will say at CrimeCon, I had a real epiphany from John Benet's dad. And he said that he would avoid a lot of that for a long time. He thought it was so macabre, and then he realized when he was
Did she say Macab-ra? No. Did she say Macab-ra? What? Did she say Macab-ra? I of all the things that she should not get wrong when this is her job, she shouldn't. That's not how you say it. What the fuck? I'm shocked. Literally. Well, wow. Okay, Leslie's on my brain. question. Okay, as it pertains to the elements of burglary. Yep. That you might, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, but you might have heard that from me. We've gone over the elements of burglary here on different live streams with this. And that is something that I commented on, that one of the things they have to do is prove that the person was at the address. You're correct. They have to prove that the person was there at the address. You are correct. I can't believe she said that. What? So, you know, good old bushy eyebrows will do it, right? Joking, obviously.
I ain't gonna get caught watching any of that stuff because that's somebody's real family. That's somebody's real dad or somebody's real mom or that's their wife, you know, and lo and behold, it happens to me. So
one thing I will say at CrimeCon, I had a real epiphany from John Ramsey, John Benet's dad. And he said that he would avoid a lot of that for a long time. He thought it was so macabre, you know.
I can't.
And then he realized when
I cannot believe that. Oh,
he was at CrimeCon, how many people loved him and how much support he had and how many people are dedicated to justice. You know, like the real true crime fanatics are in it. Not everybody, but a lot of them, a majority of them are in it for the justice. And that made him feel a lot better. He suddenly felt a sea of love that he didn't even know existed before. And that made me feel really good. I felt for a guy who's been through what he's been through for 30 years, made me feel a lot better for him. But,
yeah, sure.
But you're in the club, right? You're in the club.
And I'm sure that guy had it even worse than most because at least I got another guy that, you know, is actually responsible. But, you know, I get a ton of hate just because I'm vocal.
Actually responsible.
And I'm out here saying, hey, let's get him and let's go for him and let's get the evidence out and all this. So it brings a ton of hate my way. But that guy, I imagine he had a really, really tough go at it. So I feel for him.
You're getting a ton of hate?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anybody who says they're going for, you know, the guy who did it, there's always these people that think he didn't do it.
I've only ever heard it pronounced.
They come after you because you're the source of some of the information. I mean, if I just go away, maybe there's an easier path for him to, you know, keep his name out of the press and keep people, they forget about it. And
why does he think this is blowing my mind yet again? Why does he think? I'm so confused about this thing. Like he said earlier, and we watched it in part 1, it was like,
do it. So
sorry, like his job is to keep this case fresh. I'm like, what? Keep this case fresh? I talk about this case literally every day, and I've not watched anything that he's done since the murders first happened, and like that, you know, whenever it was that they first came out and it was on the things. I just don't understand.
They come after you because you're the source of some of the information. I mean, if I just go away, maybe there's an easier path.
If you went away, no offense, but I wouldn't notice because literally, I mean, apart from this one video, again, I'm not. Anyway, whatever.
For him to, you know, keep his name out of the press and keep people.
Does he think he's like a bigger? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, does he think he's a bigger deal than he is? I don't know how else can one say that in a less rude way. I don't know. I'm just confused.
Forget about it, and you know, there's witnesses out there. Maybe they forget about it and they don't realize. You know, they move on with their lives, and you know, we don't get justice.
What kind of things are they saying?
We get people taking pictures of our house, posting them online.
Everybody say goodnight to Pamela, who was her first time in the chat. I believe you said it was your first time in the chat. I think we had a couple people, but welcome on in. Glad you enjoyed it. Glad you had fun. We love you. Welcome to the Squirrel Crew. Hopefully we'll see you again very soon, aka maybe even tomorrow. That would be amazing. Glad you had a good time. Good night. Good night.
I had to call the cops to come do surveillance around my house. Yeah, I mean, there's all. I don't even want to tell you all the things that's happened. We made a police report in Boise last time we were there because I don't want to give these crazy people any more ideas on how they can mess with us. And if I described what they did, I'd probably just given a couple of those weirdos more ways to come after us. But you know, I think they relate a lot with Bryan, and you know, deep down inside, they see like a kindred spirit. And there's some people that, you know, they have a vendetta against judges and judgment and cops. And
Heather, is that supposed to be a reference to something?
There's this maybe like 95% are here for all the right things. They want to see like an old fashioned movie where it ends right. And then there's this 5% of people that are like, I'm not one of those cool kids that got killed. I'm a loser.
What? What is happening? What?
So there's this maybe like 95% are here for all the right things. They want to see like an old fashioned movie where it ends right. And then there's this 5% of people that are like, I'm not one of those cool kids that got killed.
What is happening?
I'm a loser. I quit everything. I do drugs. I'm addicted. I've got all these problems.
What is going on? What is going on? What? Oh boy. They should have ended this interview a while ago before it went way, 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 way further off the rails.
Like a kindred spirit.
What is
There's some
happening?
people that, they have a vendetta against judges and judgment and cops. And so there's this maybe like 95% are here for all the right things. They want to see like an old fashioned movie where it ends right. And then there's this 5% of people that are like, I'm not one of those cool kids that got killed. I'm a loser. I quit everything. I do drugs. I'm addicted. I've got all these problems, and I hate people. And you hear it. I mean, you literally hear that from these people that do these horrible mass murders and school shootings. You literally hear them say that. So
No, sorry. Okay.
So I think, and we know for a fact, one of them, that Georgia Gray kid, Georgia, the state where he did the school shooter, his last name was Gray. Colt Gray, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to.
Oh, okay. So she mentioned, Ashley mentioned this school shooter in Georgia, and we were like, what? Okay, this is where this came from. Who knows? All right. Just that's where it came from.
Even say these kids' names. I don't want to give them any platform, but it could be confusing. People always think, well, you're not being clear when you don't give this information out. But so this guy,
What? Oh boy.
Colt Gray, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to even say these kids' names. I don't want to give them any platform, but it could be confusing. People always think, well, you're not being clear when you don't give this information out. But so this guy, he was a
arguing with himself out loud.
BK fan, and he made threats to our family. So,
the Georgia shooter, the school shooter, made threats to your family.
Yes, that's what we were told.
That's what we were told. What?
So this guy, he was a BK fan, and he made threats to our family. So,
the Georgia shooter, the school shooter, made threats to your family.
Yes, that's what we were told. He made an open threat or a forum threat, saying if the Goncalves don't shut their mouths, we should shut it for them.
What?
And this is a guy who ends up going killing people.
Well,
well, that proves it all. We can all go home, guys. There it is. Case closed. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Also, y'all, no slandering of the cough drops now. Wow. I feel like we are watching someone lose their grip on, like I feel like in this, in real time here, we're watching somebody, I don't know, I don't even know what, dementia really quickly. I don't even have words. This though is the ending of the interview, and it really takes the cake. So
believe. Mm-hmm. I hate to even say these kids' names. I don't want to give them any platform, but it could be confusing. People always think, well, you're not being clear when you don't give this information out. But so this guy, he was a BK fan, and he made threats to our family. So,
the Georgia shooter, the school shooter, made threats to your family.
Yes, that's what we were told. He made an open threat or a forum threat, saying if the Goncalves don't shut their mouths,
we see it yourself. Though? Never mind.
Shut it for them. And this is a guy who ends up going killing people.
Well, I know justice is coming your way.
Wow.
And
wow.
And there's nothing I can say that will ever make it feel better. I see it myself in the work that I do. There's this underbelly that has become so filthy and vile over the last 20 years. I don't know where they came from. I don't know why they exacerbated. I just know that they got a tool in the internet to help them be loud and vocal. And thank God it is a minority. Because
that's literally the point I was making earlier about social media. So anyway,
you don't deserve that. I'm really appreciative of this, Steve. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
My great thanks to Steve Goncalves for talking with me on this podcast. I've had a lot of conversations with Steve over the last couple of years, and usually they're on live television. You don't get a whole lot.
If you guys could see the look on my face right now, I'm really confused.
In a 6-7 minute segment, it's sort of formal and stilted, and I felt he was very candid. He let his guard down, and he spoke very honestly and openly about the experiences that he and his family and some of the other families are going through. I think we all have to remember this, right? As we cover the story, as we are sort of transfixed by what happened at 1122 King Road, we always have to remember what this is like for them. Yes, we're finding out details. When they're finding out the details, it hits different. So it's just something for us all to keep in mind. I want to thank you so much for...
I'm sure I agree with that. I'm sure that's true. But like, we have gone off. We've just, I don't even know. I was thinking the same thing. Let his guard down, right? Yeah, like literally argued with himself out loud. And the argument was all nonsense anyway. Wow.
For being with me through this podcast, watching on YouTube, listening on any of the platforms where you get your podcasts. I so appreciate it. I always want to hear from you. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss things like this bonus episode. I'm sneaky like that. I drop them just...
Oh, God. Okay. So apparently, who was it that in the chat that was saying that they did, or Steve, was it the Goncalves people that did an interview tonight or something? Good night, MCAT. Yeah, off the rails and I'm off to bed. Wow. Good night, MCAT. Love you. Thanks for being here. We love you. We love MCAT. Please, tiny water, dude. Let's take a tiny waterfall break. Great thought. Great thinking. Great thinking. Hang on. Great thinking, Heather.
I gotta show you that waterfall, though. Oh, there's a little waterfall coming out of the spa.
Wait. Are you? He's calling that a waterfall? Guys, what do you think that says about his you-know-what size?
And the grounds have been a fixture in their online videos.
I gotta show you that waterfall, though. Oh, there's a little waterfall coming out of the spa.
I'm good. I'm dead. Goodbye. Oh my God, I'm dead. I'm dead, you guys. I'm dead. This wins. That is the waterfall. What? I don't.
For years, this house and the grounds have been a fixture in their online videos.
I gotta show you that waterfall, though. Oh, there's a little waterfall coming out of the spa.
That speaks volumes, though, doesn't it, about him? Holy shit. He calls that a waterfall? Oh, dear.
This is my pool, my slide.
Oh, my God.
You know, my little hot tub. And
is he going to say the waterfall? Is it
got a little waterfall? We haven't really...
Oh, my God. Hold on. I was saying that as a joke because this is a different video and different outfit and all that. No way.
But it's getting there.
I'm dying.
And take some time to get a house the way you like it. This is my pool, my slide, you know, my little hot tub, and we've got a little waterfall. We haven't really furnished it yet, but we're going to make it real nice. This is my house.
Oh, my God.
This is the back of it.
Waterfall. You've got to be...
It's a pretty sweet spot.
I have to say something, MCAT. I hope you're still here. I forgot that I made a command for birthdays, and it wasn't until it popped up that I remembered that MCAT was there when I made this command because MCAT was said that their favorite drink was whiskey or something like whiskey, or not, I don't know if it was their favorite, but like there was talk of whiskey. Let's just say that much. There was talk of whiskey. We were covering Adelson's, and I made this command, and literally without knowing that this was a long ass time ago, guys. This was months ago. And it totally just all came full circle when I remembered that I made this command and there's MCAT's whiskey emoji in the command. And if MCAT doesn't see this tonight, we'll make sure that MCAT sees this again. But MCAT was there when I made this command. I literally said, oh, look, I put the whiskey in there for you. Oh my gosh. So happy birthday to MCAT. Let's take a look at this one real quick here as well.
You also told them that you thought you heard a wildcat, or maybe it was a person or something like that as well?
No, that's not what I said.
What did you say then?
I said when I went outside that there's a house cat that's gone wild. and he hangs around. He goes from hanging around the shop, goes from hanging around the house, different times. You might, and there'll be times you don't see him. And he had been around the house. And when I went outside, I believe that cat was over there.
Amazing. Hi, Northwest. Welcome. It's actually kind of cold here, right meow. So I think Core TV also did another update on Kohberger, but I don't know that it's, I don't know if, oh, right. I was asking a question. Hold on. Oh, I love pink Himalayan salt. I don't have any right now. Also, welcome Too Fast. I don't have any right now, but I have used it in the past. Especially, it's really good if you make homemade popcorn, like on the stove, like stove popcorn or whatever you call it. We are right. So the interview, what was it? Where'd it go? It was on the interview room. Okay. I don't think we can watch that because I don't know that anyone wants to, but I don't think we can watch that because I know they have a specific thing about like from what I understand, they will like come for the channel if you use anything on there. So I don't think we can watch that. Oh my God, the poll. Anyone who's just now getting here, vote in the poll, the Twiz poll. Although it looks like we've got a winner by a landslide here. Looks like we got a winner by a landslide. Nightbot got it wrong. That's funny. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. I can't answer that. Oh, yep, that's all. Yep. The Celtic sea salt is also really good with the popcorn. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Poor Nightbot. Aw. But guys, that's all we have there. That's all we've got for this one. That's all we've got. Oh yeah, make sure you guys voted. Does anybody want to go watch some Curb in the Discord? Because we could do that. Oh, well, now it's getting closer. People are voting. Looks like people are voting. Twiz 3 is catching up a little bit. We did Tiny Waterfalls. We did Jeff. Sounds weird, doesn't it? That sounds weird. Don't go chasing Tiny Waterfalls for sure. I think you're probably talking about the interview room, which again, we can't. Now, having said that, I think we could watch it in the Discord. I had some trouble with that though. It's funny. Like the thing is that the streaming on Discord, it seems to be kind of funny when you use YouTube, but it works great with like Windows Media Player. So, but you're right that it is true. It is true that the copyright thing wouldn't, we could watch it in the Discord. That's true. We could do that. I don't know why it was clunky. We could try it. We could totally try it. We could totally try it and see. But we did the Lori Vallow interview from prison after she got convicted just recently. We did that. And it was not, it was kind of clunky, and I couldn't tell if it was like glitching. It definitely wasn't as smooth as the Windows Media Player on Discord, but we could totally try it. If you guys want to watch that, we totally can. That's funny. It's popcorn. That's funny. It's definitely not popcorn. I mean, technically, but that's not, yeah. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to close the poll. And we have a winner with Twiz 1 with the little boys. I wonder if the tiny boys did it for the votes on that. Who was swayed by the tiny boys? Twiz, did you vote for one? That's really funny. No, King of the maps. No surprise there. That's really funny. Oh yeah, I use a Himalayan salt for my Neti Pot, but it's not the pink one. It's the white one. Does anyone else here use a Neti Pot? I freaking love my Neti Pot. Haven't done one in a while. I always say it's like a spa day for the inside of your face. Totally recommend it. But you gotta make sure you know how to do it right. Toes uses a Neti Pot. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I was very Neti Pot averse for years. And I was like, how do people do that? Like, I would rather, I don't know, anything. Like, how do people do that? But then I was finally talked into trying one, and I never went back. It was amazing. Well, all you have to do is make sure you use your Twiz. Just make sure your water, you got to boil it for 3 minutes and then let it cool down to room temperature. Yeah, no, I can totally, anyone that is worried about the brain infection, it's totally avoidable. You don't have to get a brain infection. Trust me. I did a lot of research before using one. You have to boil the water. You have to make sure your Neti Pot's been cleaned. So what I do is I boil the water, and then I take the boiled water and I put the Neti Pot in the boiled water and like boil the Neti Pot basically, even though it's already clean. And then I start fresh with another batch of water, which I also boil for like another 3 minutes. And then that's to prepare the actual water for the Neti Pot. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not that bad. I'm making it sound like harder than it is. I think you can just use I think you can. I think you can use distilled water. I think you can. See, you have to pay for that. And I'm like, I'm going to use free water. And like, I think that you can though. I think you can use distilled. I'm pretty sure that's kind of what you end up doing when you boil it in the manner in which I just described. There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Well water. I think with well water though, you still could have the amoeba. You still want to boil it. You guys. Y'all. I'm telling you, too fast. Don't knock it till you try it, man. Those of you guys who didn't watch I'm on a Boat, did you guys go watch I'm on a Boat? I don't know if Needs and Z's is still listening. Needs and Z's was one that hadn't seen it. Didn't die yet, Twiz. Never. You can use tap water, but you got to boil it. Y'all. Guys are so funny. Anyone who's new to the Squirrel Crew, I swear, the funniest people on the planet are in the Squirrel Crew, and also the smartest and best. It's great. Yeah, where's these since he's, I don't know. I actually love the Neti Pot for like when it gets really dry, you know, in the winter and stuff. It's great. Also in the fall. I never actually am I never get like congested. So I never have that issue. She did say that, but I was like, remember, we were like, I told her, I said, if you watch it and you feel like you wasted 3 minutes of your life, I'll give you those 3 minutes back. Completely confident that will not be what happens. So. I'm not putting any cough drops up my nose. I'm not wasting them. You guys. Oh my God, these Twiz pictures are so good. I think Meg said she was putting them in the Discord. So y'all, that's it for this live stream, guys. So we'll be back tomorrow with Karen Reed. And I got to get caught up on these timestamps. I've been doing pretty well. But anywho, Meg seems to be worried about the cough drops. I don't quite understand, but we love you, Meg. The cough drops is not because I'm not sick or anything. It's just because I have this bag over here from when I had laryngitis, and it started from a couple days ago. And I was like, oh, I think I'll have a cough drop because they're just really tasty. The menthol. Like, I'm not a snacker, I'm not a candy eater, but like I love the cough drops. But like I just have this whole bag over here, so you know, I'm just enjoying them as like a treat, basically. I was not part of a conversation about Vicks Vapor Rub. I don't know about that. I don't have any Vicks Vapor Rub. I'm just trying to picture being like cracked out on cough drop. I mean, it's just the whole concept is hilarious to me. What? Angel says their friend is Italian. They put Vicks on everything. What the heck? Is that a different kind of Vicks? This is food? What? Oh my God. Vicks Vapor Rub on food? Or what now? I'm just, oh my God. That's crazy. We hope it's a different. That's an odd one. Oh, that's still weird, but less weird than on food. Okay, at least they're not eating it. Good God. I see. You guys, I see how. God. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. That's. Why do I all of a sudden have the urge for guacamole? Interesting how that happened. All right, guys. Love y'all. Thanks for being amazing, squirrels. We will reconvene here shortly. Hope you guys have an amazing number of hours until we meet again. And see y'all next time.